Well, good evening, everyone. This is Patricia, and I am traveling for history. In fact, I'm in Burlington, Vermont this evening on Pine Street, and this building across from us may be Champlain Apartments now, but it started life as Champlain School, an elementary school in the South End of Burlington. So the Champlain School was built in 1909 and is a fine local example of vernacular Richardsonian Romanesque architecture, designed by one of the city's most prominent architects of the period. It was used as a school until the end of 1968 and now houses apartments. It was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1982. Before I talk about any more history of the building, let me just explain what Richardson Romanesque revival style is. Richardsonian Romanesque is a style of Romanesque revival architecture named after the architect Henry Hobson Richardson, H.H. Richardson, who lived from 1838 to 1886. The revival style incorporates 11th and 12th century Southern French, Spanish, and Italian Romanesque characteristics. Richardson first used elements of the style in his Richardson Olmsted complex in Buffalo, New York, designed in 1870. Multiple architects followed in this style in the late 1800s, and Richardson Romanesque later influenced modern styles of architecture as well. This very free revival style incorporates, as I just said, the 11th and 12th century Southern French, Spanish, and Italian Romanesque characteristics. It emphasizes clear, strong, picturesque massing. So this is a large brick building. Round-headed Romanesque arches, and let me show you what I mean by that. Oops. We can see the windows up here are all arched, right? We can see that. And the front door here is also arched. Those arches are often spring from clusters of short, squat columns, and we can see that there are these columns right here. Don't think they really spring from there, but the idea is there. Sort of like pilasters, which are columns built into a wall. They're not freestanding columns. Recessed entrance. It certainly does have a recessed entrance. I can't zoom in any further than I already have, but I think you'll be able to see it better than I can at this point. Right here you'll see that the door is recessed in that arched area. Richly varied rustication, blank stretches of walling contrasting with bands of windows, and we have bands of windows all the way across. Wow. So yeah, and then to show you some pictures of this stuff, the first one I'm going to show you is Trinity Church in Boston, an exemplar of Richardsonian Romanesque style, right there. That's probably pretty good. And then there's the Richardsonian Romanesque that has both French and Spanish Romanesque characteristics, as seen in the First Presbyterian Church in Detroit by architects George D. Mason and Zachariah Rice in 1891. And then, last but not least, another example is are the architectural details of the American Museum of Natural History. Unfortunately, I can't hold my arm out any farther. It's, I have short arms. All right, now let's return to the history of the Champlain School. Okay, so this Champlain School is on the west side of Pine Street opposite the Champlain Elementary School. And if I just turn around, holy cow, there we go. There is the current Champlain Elementary School. Built in 1968, I believe. First class was from 1969. This school here in front of us, Champlain School, is 2 stories in height and is built of red brick with sandstone trim. It is capped by a hip roof and rests on a raised rubblestone foundation. Its front facade is 16 bays wide, with the center 8 set in a slightly projecting hip-roofed projection. The outer 4 bays on each side have windows set in tall recessed panels, topped by rounded arches. The window bays in the center section are narrower, with the upper windows again topped by rounded arches. On the first floor, the main entrance occupies the center 4 bays, recessed in a large round arch opening. The school was built in 1909 and was the first large-scale commission of Frank Lyman Austin, one of Burlington's leading architects of the early 20th century. It was built to satisfy the then current ideas about the fireproofing of school buildings and the need for each classroom to have adequate natural lighting. The neighborhood it served had, in the 1890s, seen significant growth due to the construction of a textile mill. It served the city through 1968 and has since been converted to apartments, with an addition added onto the rear. Now I'm going to do a little bit of walking so we can see perhaps a little bit more of this building. That that tree in the center there really does block a lot of the view. I think you would agree with that, eh? But I'm not going to go on the property because it's private property, and I just don't need to be trespassed today. We can see chimneys at the top, right here and right there, and they're the same on the other side. No, not saying as much because I'm trying to get a good look at this with you. And we can see the sign right there that says Champlain School. We come along to the side of the building. Yeah. We can see the beautiful window bays on the side too. I think you can see them as well. Hopefully better than I. Right along here. So, have you ever wondered why this is called Champlain School? I mean, there's Lake Champlain, but this was built in 1909. That actually is an important date, an important year in Burlington's history. It's known as the Tercentenary, which is the 300th anniversary of the discovery of Lake Champlain by Samuel de Champlain, a French explorer who, when he discovered it, graciously named it after himself. So he discovered it in 1609. The Tercentenary was 300 years after that. In 1909, there was a variety of building projects in Burlington at that time, and this was one of them. So Champlain School gets its name from the Tercentenary of Samuel de Champlain discovering Lake Champlain. All right, that's what I had to say about this building, so thank you so much for coming with me this evening. If you like my videos, and I am at the time of this filming at number 98, so if you like my videos, I'd love it if you would subscribe, share them, see photographs. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. Let's see, Facebook. So Traveling for History on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Traveling for History, and then on Twitter I am Traveling for HI1. Number one. Love to have a conversation with you. Alrighty. So until the next time, you have a good evening and have a great night. Bye.